Go ahead and pause this now, and we can go ahead and get started. Hello! How's everyone doing? Good. Great to hear. My name is Ismael Villegas Molina, and welcome to CSE 8A, Intro to Programming in Python. Let's get to it. So, as I said before, my name is Ismael, and I am one of the instructors for this course. There's another instructor for the course. His name is Anshul Shah. He had his lecture that just finished up, and both of us are going to be teaching two different sections of CSE 8A. But for full transparency, we will also be sharing a lot of the material. Well, we'll be sharing all the material, assignments, labs, course, anything that has to do with the class. It's going to be basically two different courses all working together, including the staff members, okay? So by that we mean, I have a TA and some tutors. Anshul has some TAs and tutors, but all the TAs and tutors will be there for all of you. So if you see a TA or a tutor that is technically in Anshul's class, you can go ahead and get help from them as well, okay? So, yes, welcome. My name is Ismael. I'm a PhD candidate in the Computer Science and Engineering department here at UCSD. And I'd like to introduce Audrey. So Audrey, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a bit?
Hello, I'm Audrey. I'm one of the TAs. I'm also in the PhD Computer Science Education program with Ismail and Anshul. What else? Like I said on my slide, I love K-dramas and any type of dramas. Your own personal drama if you have tea. I love listening to
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. So thank you, Audrey. Audrey's going to be one of your lovely TAs. And we have another lovely TA here, Chao Hui. So Chao Hui, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself too?
Hello everyone. My name is Chao Hui, and I'm doing PhD in the CSE department. And my research area is bioinformatics. And I'm gonna lead the discussion sections for this course. So if you have any questions, just feel free to ask me in the class or during office hours, or any send emails or post discussions online. And I'm always excited about helping you guys to learn more and better about Python.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chao Hui, who also likes soccer, hiking, and singing. Very exciting. Yeah, karaoke night very soon. Yeah, so all of us can be singing here in class. All of you will have to sing. Welcome. Come on in. So, a little bit about myself. I got my bachelor's in computer science with an emphasis in intelligent systems. That was over at Columbia University, over in New York City, where I did a lot of research work on natural language processing and autonomous vehicles. It's a lot of really big words, but basically, my research work was about how can computers understand human language, right? We understand English, we can speak, read, write English, but the computer, how can the computer actually read, write, and understand English language? And my work was specific on English-Spanish code switching languages, so switching between English and Spanish freely. And then also autonomous vehicles, self-driving vehicles. I did some research work on that. Then from there, I went to go get my master's. My master's over at USC, over up in LA, where I also got it in computer science. And the research work that I did there was more about virtual humans and affective computing. Virtual humans, basically, how can we represent a human being with a computer, right? And have people interact with that computer. And then also affective computing. How can computers read and understand and display emotion, right? So if a computer can see that one is happy, and they could understand what happiness is, and they could also, as a virtual human, show that they're happy with smiley faces and stuff, do those computers actually hold emotion? Do those computers actually feel these emotions? That's not what we're going to be talking about in this class at all, but this, if that's something that you're interested in, you can go ahead and talk to me about that. But right now, I am at UCSD, and I'm getting my PhD in computer science, where my research work now is all about computer science education. So how can we best create a computer science classroom, and what are some key techniques that we can use in the classroom to help all sorts of students? Specifically, the type of work that I do is Latinos in computing. So Latin American students in computer science are a severely underrepresented group in computer science. So, and that as I am myself, and I just want to see what's the best way to support that group of students. But also, I do work in culturally relevant computing. So how can we bring in and support cultures from all sorts, like all around the world, into the computer science classroom? And how does our computer science how is computer science affected by culture and vice versa, right? So that's the kind of work that I do right now. Where am I from? So right now, we are all the way over here in San Diego, right? A little bit up higher. And I am from all the way over here. I am like a 2-hour drive away. It's a place called El Centro, California. Very, very small rural town. 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 Lots of fields, lots and lots of fields. So I come from a very small place, right? And I went to the big city, right? And now I'm here in San Diego, still kind of a big city, right? So if you have any experience with that, I can also help you out with that. But also, I am not just from El Centro, California. I am also from a place called Mexicali, Baja California, that is on the Mexican side of the border, right? Mexicali is the state capital of Baja California, and I would basically freely cross between the two as I'm a dual citizen. I'm a citizen of the United States and a citizen of Mexico. Take a guess as to which one's the capital of a state and the other one is a rural area. Now what?
I'm going to say the capital is the one to the left.
Aha, yes, astute, right? So basically this is what it looks like, really a much bigger city. It's got a very large also Chinese population due to historical reasons, right? Within the United States and Chinese immigrants that came that worked on railroads specifically. But we can go ahead and get into that some other time, right? So today we'll be focusing on computer science. But in terms of the research work that I do, I did mention that I work with Latinos in computer science. And basically my research work, a lot of it is how to best support US Latin American students in computer science due to the massive underrepresentation issue. So I got some statistics just so y'all can see exactly what I mean by this using the Computing Research Association data. Right now, the percentage of Latin American people in the United States is 19.5%. So you would assume that Latins in computing should probably be around 19.5%. A little lower, a little higher, but around that number. But right now, the computer science undergraduates in all the United States is 9.1%. Much, much lower. Much, much lower. Less than half. So not great, right? And then on top of that, in terms of computer science PhD students, as myself, the number of Latina students as PhD program in a PhD program is 2.1%. So very, 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 very low compared to what, ideally, quote unquote, ideally, it should be 19.5. A little lower, a little higher, but around that number. So that's what kind of drove me to do this type of research work. And one of the ways to do that is also to use culturally relevant computing materials and techniques in teaching and learning programming. So a lot of what I do is, like, for example, this is something called Loteria. It is a Mexican board game. And what I did in some past iterations of this exact course, actually, we created a UCSD version. And I had people actually write a program using Python, a programming language, we'll get into that right now, but to create this game and actually play this game. And they could run it and play with their friends, play with family members, but ultimately using cultural artifacts and cultural games and cultural, any aspect of culture inside the computer science classroom, right? That's something that I'm really interested in as well. And then lastly, also, what are some effective ways to teach programming to non-native English speakers, right? So right now, I mean, always, in computer science, lots of the information that's out there is mainly in English. Mainly English focused in terms of help that you can get online, mainly English focused in the way that you're typing to the computer. We'll see that very soon. And I was also interested in what's the best way to teach to students who may not have learned English as their first language, right? So that's the type of work that I do as well. How about my teaching experience? So I have had experience teaching before. I've actually had experience teaching introductory computer science courses as well. I've worked with helping teach Python, which is the language that we'll be using in this class. I've taught using Java before, and also taught something using Scratch. Scratch is like more of a lower level programming language that uses blocks. It's called block-based programming. And I've used this to teach like some high schoolers. I've used these to teach university students, whether it's undergraduate or graduate school. So this is the kind of work that I've done. And just a little bit more about my teaching philosophy, the kind of things that I like to do in the classroom so you can know what to expect whenever we're having these lectures. So one of the first things is that of active learning. Active learning is basically a very well-studied technique in computer science education, where basically we don't want to just be listening to a lecture all day long, kind of like what we've been doing for the past 15 minutes. Research shows that like around 40 minutes, students get disengaged because there's not really much to do other than just listen to someone talk. So what we want to do in active learning is to do hands-on activities, learn by doing, and actually have you all, programming in the classroom, answering questions in the classroom, and actually engaging with one another, things like that. And also collaborative learning. I love seeing people work with each other, working with others, and discussing your approaches towards answering a problem that we may have. So in labs, you'll be doing something called pair programming, I believe, where you will actually be actively working with someone else together, both of you, towards a shared goal and helping each other out. The reason why we do this is because, one, it helps out with student learning, just first and foremost. But on top of that, if you decide to start using programming in your jobs in the future, then this is a very real world scenario where you're not just working by yourself, but you're working in a team. Right? And then lastly, as I said before, culturally relevant computing, something very important to me. But basically, there's three key things to it. One is achieving academic success regardless of your differences in background, right? Doesn't matter where you come from, who you are, but achieving academic success is the #1 goal. Secondly, we'd like to develop and maintain cultural competence by recognizing and honoring their own and others' cultural beliefs and practices. This can all be within the classroom in computer science as well. And then lastly, developing a broader socio-political consciousness, right? So it's not just about I'm writing a program and that's it. But what does that program actually do? What does that mean when I write it for the world, right? It's not like I'm just doing my job. Rather, what exactly is my job? What exactly am I writing? And what are those effects in a larger socio-political sense, right? So some fun things, right? Some things outside of the classroom. I'm really into watching movies. I have a Letterboxd account, if y'all know or don't know what that is. It's basically a social media site where you could just literally write reviews for movies, and I've reviewed all the movies that I watch. So if you see between now and the end of this course, if I watch the movie, you will see it there. I also have 2 different podcasts about movies. One is called Real Latinos. It's talking about all about Latin American cinema, right? Whether it be anywhere in Latin America or also in the United States, but with like a Latin American background. And I also have another podcast called The Right Stuff. The Right Stuff is all about a director named Edgar Wright. If you've seen the movie Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, Baby Driver, Last Night in Soho, all those type of movies, that's all from the same director, and we just go through his filmography. Hello, welcome. we're just going over, hello, welcome, come on in. Yeah, we're just going over a little bit about my teaching philosophy, things about me, and then we're going to be hearing from all of you very soon. Anyways, yeah, super into movies, love talking movies. If you want to go to my office hours and just talk about movies, I'm totally fine with that too, right? I'm also really into music. I have played trombone for many years. I was in a symphonic orchestra when I was in my undergrad, and I had a really fun time there. I play piano. I've been playing piano since I was like 7 years old-ish, and I taught piano when I was in high school to students around the community. And yeah, had a fun time. And also, last but not least, I am a father. I have a baby. He is 10 months old. He's going to be 11 months old very soon. I'm not showing his face here for obviously privacy reasons, but yeah, so that's one of the reasons why my office hours typically will end right around 3 p.m. By 3, 4, I have to start walking over to the daycare that's here at UCSD, and I have to pick up my baby. So that's one of the reasons why most of my office hours are going to be like at 10 a.m., right? So apologies for that, but I hope you understand. You can't see his cute face, but if you could, then you'd see. Yeah, man. Yeah, I want to get back to that every single day. So yeah, those are just some fun things about me. But right now, I'd also want to hear all about you. Typically, this slide is for a very large classroom where you'd be paired with each other, just talk to your neighbor about all these different things. But since we have a nice small classroom, then we can go ahead and just introduce ourselves, right, to the class. I'd love to hear your name. I'd love to hear where you're from. I'd love to hear what your major is, if you have one at all, what year you are in college, why you're interested in taking this class, and maybe a fun thing about yourself. If you don't feel comfortable asking or answering any of these questions, that's totally fine as well. You don't have to. But I'd love to get to know all of you. So, without further ado, why don't we go ahead and get started? I'll just start off with my left-hand side. Tyler.
All right. My name's Tyler. I was born in San Francisco, but I've lived in San Diego for a long time.
Great.
I'm actually still in high school, and I just thought this would be a fun opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And then I run track.
Awesome. Great. Track. A lot of running. A lot of running. Do you do like long distance stuff or like more short distance? Sprinter. Wow. Very nice. All right, great. Want to go ahead here?
My name is Min. I'm from China.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a second year in Essex College.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a math major, and I'm interested in this class because I want to learn some basics about computer science.
Mm-hmm.
And one fun thing is learning French.
You're learning French? Oh, wow. Okay. Je parle français un peu. Very peu.
Moi aussi.
Oh, wait. Okay, great. I just said that I speak very little French. Very little French. Why don't we keep on going? How about yourself?
My name is Ella, and I'm from Irvine.
Great, yeah.
And I'm a psych major. I'm a senior this fall.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm taking this class because I wanted to learn how to code.
Great. You're in the right place.
Fun thing about me is I have a long-haired chihuahua.
Oh, long-haired chihuahua. Usually the chihuahuas that we see are like very short-haired ones, right? Wow, long-haired. Love to see a picture of that at some other time. Great, and then let's continue on.
My name is Caesar. I'm from Los Angeles. I'm a second year majoring in applied mathematics, and I chose to take this class because I really never played before, and I just want to experience something new.
Awesome, great. Yeah, fantastic. Love to hear it. And here, I mean, y'all are interested in computer science. That's great. I'm very interested in teaching computer science. If you're here just because it's a required thing for your track or your major, that's totally fine too. But I'm going to make sure that I give you the best possible experience in computer science going forward. All right, so let's just go into some logistics. So all of you all should probably have already gotten access to Canvas. But Canvas here, I'm just going to go ahead and click it here so we can all see what it looks like. Canvas is right here. We will not be using Canvas too often. Canvas is mainly going to be used for grades, and I'm going to be posting grades there. In terms of like discussion and like questions that you may be having or submitting assignments, all that stuff, that's all going to be in a different thing called EdStep. And we'll cover every single one of the tools that we're using for this class. But yeah, here in Canvas we have most things already added and populated. Here are the useful information, some useful links, such as the course website. Course website is going to have all the up-to-date information. So I highly recommend if you have a question about the course, something needs to come up, likely you're going to find all that information on the course website. And then we have, our course syllabus, our class recording. This class is recorded, right? And then you will be able to gain access to that through Canvas. That's like one of the, well, so Canvas is going to be mainly two things. One is grades that are being posted, and secondly is these recordings. These recordings will be posted on Canvas. Okay. So yeah, here's some helpful information. There's also some modules that I added, but I don't think we're going to be needing to use those too often. But basically, yeah, Canvas, that's where grades will be. Okay. Now, I also mentioned the course website. This is the course website. Here is where you'll find any and all information that has to do with the course. It is the course with our section and as well as the other section that I mentioned earlier with Anshul. So we'll just go ahead and see some of this basic information here, where we have two instructors. Instructor one is Anshul Shah and also myself, Ismael Villegas Molina. And there's two different lectures. We are right now at the 12:30 lecture course here at Warren Lecture Hall. But there's also some other aspects of the course that you have already signed up for. One of them is discussions, and another one is labs. Okay? Discussions, a discussion section is going to be basically an optional section for you all to be able to go and practice your, this is mainly going to be help with programming assignments. Like some new techniques that you need for your programming assignments will be covered, reinforced basically in discussions. Lectures will cover all the material, but discussions is going to be there for extra help. Okay, extra help for the discussion sections. Right now, we are up for discussions to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 3:50. However, I also sent an email to all of you to see if we could combine the sections that we have got together. So, right now, we are a total of 5 enrolled in this section, and there's a total of 8 enrolled in the other section. So, we are trying to see if we could actually combine all of our material all together. So that would mean we would be doing discussions when they're having it, and we'd also be doing their labs. Excuse me. But that's not really going to change anything in terms of when we're going to be meeting in terms of times. So right now, without any changes whatsoever, right now, we're scheduled for discussions on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 3:50. We're also scheduled for labs. Labs that are scheduled Monday through Wednesday, 3 to 3:50. Same time, but just different location, right? And for different days of the week. And labs are actually a required part of the course where you actually you have to go to lab. We'll talk about attendance and attendance policies a little bit later on, but basically labs are mandatory and you should be going to them. And this is where you're going to be doing some more practice in terms of programming. This is like mainly a programming practice time, a whole hour for you all to have a task to do and do it right there within the hour. This is not going to be great. Like, yes, you are required to go to labs, and yes, you will have like tasks to do within the lab, but the tasks that you do within the lab are not graded on correctness. They're only graded on completeness. So if you actually went to lab and you submitted something, you actually tried to your best at something, even if the thing that you submitted is not correct, that's okay. Like, we're not asking for you all to get every single thing 100% correct throughout the whole lab. No. The lab is mainly for us to just be there to practice. Okay? Does that make sense? Any questions so far? Yes, no, yes, no? Okay, cool. Right? If you have any questions at all during the lecture, feel free to just raise your hand or interrupt me. No hard feelings at all whatsoever. So anyways, right now, as I mentioned before, I sent out an email to you all to see if we want to basically switch our discussion and labs. Right now, discussions are Tuesdays and Thursdays, and labs are Mondays and Wednesdays. But we have the option to basically morph into the other section to have one larger section. Rather than just having us as 5 students together in the lab, we would be morphed with the other 8 students that are in the other section to have a larger 13-person section, like a 13% class. So I did send out an email. Let me know if you did not receive that email, but basically there is a form for you all to just submit, like, yes, you're okay with this change, no, you're not okay with this change, or if you have no preference. Basically, the only way that we'll make this change into us morphing everything together is if all of us are on board, okay? If even one student is not on board, that's okay. We're gonna stick to exactly what you all signed up for, okay? So if there are any objections to that, please let me know using the Google form. And I'll also have the Google form later on in the presentation as well. Okay, So any questions about lectures, discussions, or labs? Yes, no, yes, no? No? Totally fine. Basically, discussions are also going to be led by one of our TAs, Xiaokui, who's over here in the back. And also labs will be led by one of the other TA, Audra, also out here in the back. Okay? So, all right. That is basically the course information here on the website. We have some more external links. There's an optional textbook that we have for you all. This textbook was basically created for this class for CSE 8A at UCSD. And it's free, it's online, and there's some extra practice problems if you'd like to go there as well. A link to the Canvas and a link to EdSTEM. EdSTEM is the other platform that I'll be showing you very shortly. But yeah, you can just go here, click around to this website. Lots of things to look at. There's some frequently asked questions. There's a research study that we're doing currently. I highly recommend y'all look at that as well. And the syllabus, our course schedule, all those nice things. Okay. Well, actually, speaking of syllabus, let's look at the syllabus. All right, here we go. All right, so the syllabus, we're going to be basically covering this for a large part of today's lecture. How many minutes do I have left? Yeah, we're getting time. All right, so our course description. We are CSE 8A. CSE 8A is basically a place for you all to get introduced to programming at all, right? We expect zero knowledge from you all going into computer science, with any computer science knowledge at all, coming into CSE 8A. Here's a totally intro course, right? If you have past experience, that's great. You know, that's always great to have. But this is specifically a class for those that don't have any prior experience at all. Okay, so, but before we get into any of the actual course material and things like that, first and foremost, we have to make sure that all your basic needs are met, right? So, if you have any basic needs or food insecurities, please, please, please go to any of these links to help you with any of that. There's the Triton Food Pantry that we have here on campus. We have the hub. Also, UCSD provides some in-person and virtual walk-in meetings for the CalFresh team. CalFresh is basically the government support for food insecurity for students. I highly recommend if you need one of those, please go ahead and go to get those basic needs met. Also, this is a computer science classroom, which means that we're going to be using computers a lot, right? And if you don't have access to a computer, please, please, please go get a loaner laptop. UCSD does provide loaner laptops for students for a whole quarter, and I'd really, really recommend you guys get one of these so that you can work on your programming assignments without having to go to a specific area. You can just walk around with your laptop anywhere you need it. Okay. Students with disabilities. So we do aim to create an environment for all students to succeed in the course. That includes students with disabilities. And if you have a disability, please contact the office for students with disabilities, OSD. The OSD office will have the official letter from myself, right? So that if you need any extra accommodations, any accommodation whatsoever, I mean, then I will be aware of it, right? And I will be able to provide any accommodations that you may need for your disability. And so, yeah, we just need to go through all the official channels. So if you have any disabilities, please, please, please register with the OSD office here on campus. Diversity and inclusion. Yes, we are fostering a learning environment that supports everybody, right? Diversity of thought, perspectives, experiences, and respects your identities, including, but not limited to, race, ethnicity, heritage, gender, sex, class, sexuality, religion, ability, age, educational background, etc. Okay? And our goal is to create a diverse and inclusive learning environment where all students feel comfortable and can thrive. Okay? Basically, this whole thing is we want you all to be nice to each other regardless of who you are. Right? We want to run a very welcoming environment, right? If you experience any sort of harassment or discrimination whatsoever, please contact myself or the instructor or any of them from the staff immediately, okay? We want to make sure that you have a welcoming environment, and anything that threatens that, we want to make sure that you are all right in this classroom. The last thing we need is for something outside of the classroom to be affecting the material itself, okay? So, any questions so far? No? Okay. All right, so some prerequisites for this class. As I said before, no prior programming experience is required whatsoever. Okay? This is a totally intro course. We do not expect anything at all, just a willingness to learn. Please, please, please All we want is people that are interested. Now, learning outcomes. A lot of this you're not really going to understand yet, but basically this is us labeling out everything that we want you all to learn from this class, okay? So one of the first things is to create Python programs to solve computational tasks, right? Python, we'll get into it right now. Python is basically a programming language that you use to communicate with the computer. And we'd like for you all to be able to read and understand Python code, right? So basically now, whenever you're out in the wild and you encounter Python code, whoa, then we want you to be able to read it and at least understand some basic fundamentals of Python. And then lastly, also to apply computer science principles to culture relevant and real world situations and contexts. We don't want you to just be working on computer science like in a bubble of like, these are just numbers and that's all I need to be worried about. Rather, we'd like real world or culture relevant situations to know that exactly what I'm writing, how does that affect things outside of this classroom, right? And then more specifically, again, we're not going to go through this specifically right now, but basically by the end of this course, we'd like for you all to be able to do all of these different things. Okay? Any questions? Yes, no, yes, no. No, no, no. All right. So with that, let's go to the course schedule. This course schedule is basically going to be, and actually you'll be able to see that over here as well. It's going to be in the website. Here's the course schedule. For our course schedule, basically everything here is going to be showing what we want to cover in the class. So we just have it labeled for every day, for every week, the topics that we're going to be covering. So for example, today, we're just looking at the course intro, some logistics, and a Hello World program, which we'll go over right now. And we also have access through the slides. So if you have your computer with you, then you can go ahead and open up the slides that I'm working with right now. If I'm going a little bit too fast, please let me know. If I'm going a little bit too slow, also let me know if I'm belaboring some points. So yeah, you're going to have all the information that we need for the schedule, our topics, our readings. Again, these readings are optional. There's no need to read them, but we highly recommend you check it out for extra practice. And also PA release and due dates. So for this class, we're going to be covering a lot of programming, and that means that we're going to have programming assignments, right? Where we'll be giving you a task, and you have to basically complete that task. There's not going to be one released today. There will be a new PA released tomorrow, and the first PA will be due next Monday. Okay, so we'll also be covering the PAs, what they are, what that means, what it looks like in terms of submitting, and our course policy on submissions. Okay, and then we also have our labs and our discussions. But like I said before, there may be a possibility where we, instead of having like lab 1 with Ismael, then lab 1 with Ansho, then lab 2 with Ismael, and then lab 2 with Ansho, there may be a possibility where all of us are together, just lab 1 released where Ansho's spot is, but both of our sections would be there together. We would update this if we do update our meeting times for discussions in lab segment. So yeah, this is the schedule. You can see the schedule for the whole quarter here. There is a button here that you can press to go straight into the actual schedule for the rest of the, actually, let's go down here as well. Yeah, basically weeks 1 through 5, our final exam or midterm exam. If you have a conflict with your midterm or final exam, please, please, please let me know. I need to know that as soon as possible so that we can also create accommodations in terms of when you could take these exams as well. Okay? And then lastly, yes, we have some more help over here. But let's continue on with the syllabus. Where were we? Learning outcomes, course schedule, right? So, any questions about the schedule at all? No? Yes, no, yes, no? No? All right, cool. So, our key components, our grading schema. Usually students are really interested in this part. What counts for my grade? Okay, here's the breakdown of the whole schema. Lecture attendance. We will be taking attendance in this class, and that will be 10% of your grade. But if you need to miss lecture for whatever reason, I think we have it on the, I have it right here written and we'll see it again right now. But basically, if you, for whatever reason, just can't make it to lecture, you basically get 4 free passes to miss any lecture that you need or any lecture that you want. And you will not be penalized for it whatsoever. You don't have to come up and let us know. You don't have to let us know like it's for a family emergency or anything like that. 4 lectures, freebies, no questions asked, okay? And then you can just miss, and those will not be counted against you in your grade. And then if you need more than 4, you would have to then start to ask the instructor, you know, these are the reasons why, exactly, right? Okay, anyways. Programming assignments. Programming assignments it is 45% of your grade. It does seem like a lot, right? 45% seems like a lot. But that's because our programming assignments are basically going to be the main task that we can do to make sure and assess that you are actually learning the programming that you need for computer science, right? And we will have a total of 6 programming assignments. However, just like we had for lectures, where lectures you get 1 freebie, lectures you get 4 freebies of not having to show up for lecture and no questions asked. For your PAs, even though you have 6 programming assignments for the course, we will be dropping your lowest score programming assignment, okay? So that means that for whatever reason, if for one of those programming assignments you just could not submit, whether it be too many things happening at home, or you're just having a really hard time struggling with something, whatever is your lowest scoring programming assignment, that will be dropped from your overall grade, okay? So again, if you decide, I don't know, for programming assignment 3, I can't do it this time, okay? That's okay, right? First of all, we would always be open to helping you all out for whatever reason, for all your programming needs. However, if you get a low grade, right, if your lowest grade ended up being 0% because you didn't submit it, that would be dropped, okay? But we only drop 1 of them, okay? So make sure to remember that. We only drop 1. Lab attendance. Again, labs are mandatory, so you should be going into lab. We will be taking attendance during lab. And I think we also have a similar policy in terms of dropping 1 or 2 lab. We'll see it right now. But there is a similar policy where we will be able to drop 1 or 2 of those attendances. The midterm and the final exam are also 15% of your grade each. And again, if you have a conflict with any of these exams, please let me know so we can update that for you. All right, so yeah, lectures. As I said before, you can miss up to 4 lectures without penalty. And if you start to have to miss more than 4 lectures, you also have to let us know. So yeah, I think we've covered that one already. We will be doing lecture participation through Google Forms that we will be filling out during the lecture, right? We will be using Google Forms. We may be using a different form to capture attendance. Obviously, it's a lot easier to capture attendance when there's 5 students, right? I can just kind of remember you all and know your name. But also, this Google Form is also going to be a way for us to have that active learning environment that I talked about before, where you're actually answering questions actively rather than just passively listening to someone talk for an hour. I know this is not a great example of what active learning looks like so far during this lecture, but trust me, when we get into the actual material, then you'll see what I mean. Okay. As I said before, also for programming assignments, we have a total of 6 of them. They're worth 45% of your grade, but one of the PAs with the lowest score will be dropped. Okay. So let's assume also you get 100% on all of them except for 1. You missed, you got a 99% on that one. That 99% one would be dropped, and you have all 100% on your PAs. Things like that. But again, only 1 PA will be dropped. I highly recommend you all not make your first PA be the PA that you drop. Okay. I strongly recommend that you all start ahead in a good way this quarter. Exams. Yes, exams. We have a midterm and a final. Midterm, the final is cumulative, so it'll cover all topics that we discussed during the course. If your final exam score in percentage is higher than your midterm score, then your midterm score will be replaced by the midpoint between your midterm and final score. That sounds very complicated, but basically, if your midterm was a 50%, and then your final you got 100%, we're going to replace your midterm score from that 50% up to that midpoint between 50 and 100, which is 75%, right? So we will update your midterm score if your final exam score is larger than your midterm exam score, okay? All right. Labs. So TAs will be holding in-person labs. As I said before, this is mandatory. This will be graded based on attendance, whether you show up or not, and also completion, not correctness, completion. And then here we have, labs. Assignments are worth 15% of your course grade, and the lab with the lowest score will be dropped. So you basically get 1 free pass to not go to a lab throughout the whole course. Okay? All right. So discussion sections. Discussions, again, these will be held by the TA in person, and these are optional. But you are highly encouraged to go because it's going to help you out with getting that really strong fundamental knowledge for your programming assignments going forward. Okay. Any questions so far? Usually there's questions here in terms of, you know, grades and such like that. Yes, no, yes, no? No? All right, let's keep on going. So for some course policies, we won't get too much into this one, but basically we also have free slip days. So basically, all of you all have a total of 5 free slip days for your program assignments. So any slip day, you get an automatic 24-hour extension on any programming assignment, and you do not have to ask for these slip days. So let's say that something's due on Monday, and you don't turn it in until Tuesday, that's fine, right? Because you just use up one of your total slip days. But something to be clear, yes, we will automatically use your slip days for you, right? You don't have to tell us, like, I'm going to be having to use my slip days. We'll just calculate that for you, okay? But you can only use a maximum of 2 slip days for any one PA, right? So you can't use 3 slip days on one PA, only 2, all right? Only 2 slip days for any given PA. And then no PA can be submitted more than 2 days late. So after that second day, it's unfortunate, but you could not submit anymore, okay? And for using your slip days, once you use up your slip days, you still can submit assignments late, but for each late day, you'll be docked 20% of the grade, right? So for the first 2 slip days, right, that you didn't submit, you'd still get 100% of your total grade that you need, but after the slip days, you could submit late, and then you'll be docked 20% of your grade, right, for each passing day. All right, so let's see. For labs you get 2 free slip days in the labs with a maximum of 1 slip day for any given lab. Okay. Again, that's with for labs that are mandatory in person. Any questions so far? Yes, no, yes, no. All right. So just as a quick example for the PAs in terms of the 5 free slip days that I'm talking about, let's say for PA1, you use your 2 slip days. You have a total of 3 left. Then for PA2, you use another 2 slip days. You have a total of 1 left. That means that for PAs 3 through 6, you only have 1 possible slip day that you could use for only one of those PAs. Okay? So I highly recommend that you kind of learn to use the slip days in a meaningful way for yourself. If you know that later on in the quarter you're going to have to use some more slip days, maybe keep a couple of those ready for those last couple of PAs. Okay? All right. Academic integrity. So we encourage you all to study together and discuss concepts, but you know, for the PAs, they must be completed independently. But you may also use any sort of help that we provide. So that includes the course staff, code help, the course textbook, lecture slides, SM discussion boards, or other official course materials that we have for the class. So you can always ask for help, no matter what. In fact, this class, right now, in this room, there are 4 students. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 staff members. You have more than 1 staff member for each student, right? You can literally get one-on-one help basically any time that you need. Excuse me. So please work hard and start early. But if you are found cheating, then you will receive an automatic F in the course. So please do not cheat, right? We also have some more information on what counts as cheating. It's all detailed here. So what's not cheating? How can I make sure that my actions are not cheating? You know, just don't share your assignment code with other people. Don't start with someone else's code and make changes to it. Just focus on your own work, right? And then lastly, getting help. As I said before, you can ask for as much help as you need. You can create study groups with each other. There's office hours from the instructors and the TAs. There's tutor hours from all of our lovely tutors. EdSTEM. I'll go into EdSTEM right now. EdSTEM is basically where we're going to be having our discussion board. Have any of you used something called like Piazza before in the past? Yes, no, yes, no. Piazza is basically a place where you can go and ask questions. You can ask a question with your name or anonymously, so that if you feel like you don't want to ask a quote-unquote silly question, by the way, there are no silly questions. You can always ask any question that you'd like. I don't think any question is silly. But yeah, there are only some caveats. Do not publicly post any PA-related code, right? If you say, this is not working for me, can you help me out, right? Don't put that for everyone else to see. You can use that and come to our office hours, but do not post that for other students to see, okay? And we also have something called Code Help. I'll go into Code Help very soon in the lecture as well. but basically CodeHelp is a generative AI large language model that has been created for your learning, right? So actually that's a really good segue into, I think, the very next couple things. Oh, we covered disability and accommodations, we covered DEI and the pledge, but here's the policy on large language models like ChatGPT. You may have heard of ChatGPT in the past. Basically, for the past couple of years, a lot of people have been talking about ChatGPT or Google Gemini or things like that of that nature, but large language models. We strongly discourage using ChatGPT or other large language models on assignments, labs, etc. Okay? We strongly discourage it. And the reason for that is because if you were to ask ChatGPT to answer any of the programming assignments that we have, it'll likely be able to answer the entire thing. Okay? Very likely. But our midterm and final exam is in person, and you will not be able to use that, right? It will be proctored. So obviously, if you were to be using ChatGPT for all of your things that you're not really learning, and then when it comes to the exam, you're not going to be able to finish the exam because you didn't really get to learn it. So we strongly discourage using ChatGPT or other large language models. Like I said before, it'll make it harder for you to learn the material and apply it for the in-person exams. And also for the programming assignments, we will do a quick check to make sure that your code doesn't use any advanced topics or concepts that may have been used by ChatGPT. So ChatGPT may give you an answer, and the answer will work, but maybe the answer that it's giving you is a little bit more advanced that we're even covering in the whole course, right? And it's going to be very easy for us to realize this person is likely using a large language model, and that's something that we do not want you all to be using. However, the only caveat to all that is this: CodeHelp. We do have a large language model called CodeHelp, which you are allowed to use. You are allowed to use it for your programming assignments. You are allowed to use it for your help with this classroom, right? And CodeHelp is basically ChatGPT, but it will not give you the answer. It'll give you step-by-step instructions on how to help you get to the answer, but it will not give you the answer. And you can also use it in English, Spanish, Chinese, basically any natural language that you'd like. You can ask for it in whatever language that you'd like. So if you don't feel comfortable asking questions in English, you can also ask CodeHelp in whatever native language that you have. Okay? So any questions on this? Yes, no, yes, no. All right. EdSTEM. I keep on talking about EdSTEM. This weird thing called EdSTEM. I will get to it, I keep on saying. I will get to EdSTEM. Well, here's EdSTEM. So for all of you that have a machine with you, you can also open up the slides. But basically, this link will help you join the EdSTEM class. You will need to join the EdSTEM class. This is where all the assignments will be posted. This is where all the labs will be held. This is where all the discussion activities you will have will be put into. This is where you can ask questions for all different sorts of things. And I'll actually open that up right now for y'all to see what that even looks like. So this is EdSTEM, all right? EdSTEM, I'll make this a bit bigger, hopefully that looks good. So EdSTEM, where there's a lot of different facets to it, and we'll be covering all of those right now, so you can see exactly what we're gonna be using EdSTEM for. So EdSTEM has a discussion board place where you can basically go and ask any question that you'd like, okay? Of course, do not post your own programming code into EdSTEM for everyone else to see, but basically EdSTEM will be there for you all to ask questions. You can go and see some posts that we have. We will likely be making announcements through EdSTEM, so if there are any important updates to the class, they will also be posted here. And then we also have some questions. I did create one of these right now, so for all of you. So if you were to sign up for EdSTEM using that link that I provided in the slides, then you can also go ahead. I'll have one of these for every lecture. If you don't feel comfortable asking a question by raising your hand, then I will have a post like this for every single one of our lectures, where you can just go and ask any question that you'd like. You can ask it anonymously, or you can ask it using your name, however you'd like. But basically, if you don't want to raise your hand to ask a question, you can ask it here. And one of our TAs or tutors who will be in the class with us will be able to ask that question for you, okay? Or answer it right away in the discussion board, right? So that is what EdSTEM is so far. So EdSTEM is this discussion board. Lots of different categories that you could be asking questions on. We also will be posting, as I said before, our programming assignments and all those things. Programming assignments, discussions, exams, our labs, everything will be posted here on EdSTEM. I won't open them now so that you know, get over with all the things that we're going to be doing. But basically, everything that you have to submit is likely going to be here. All of it, okay, for EdSTEM. Now, EdSTEM also allows you to create workspaces and you can start to do some programming. We will get into some programming right now. I won't do it right away, but basically, here's what you'll be able to do. A lot of different activities with that. EdSTEM is basically our one-stop shop for the whole class, right? Where everything that will be submitted, all the questions that you may be asking, etc. Any questions on EdSTEM? Does anyone have a question on how to join EdSTEM? Yes.
So you just go to the website?
You just go to the website and you create an account with your, I highly recommend using your UCSD email if you have one, and if you don't, that's totally fine. But yes, you click on the link that I have on the slides, and then you can join that way. Yeah. And then we'll be able to add you for our section. Any other questions on EdSTEM? No? All right. Cool. So that is EdSTEM. Please, please, please join. Join as soon as possible so you can get all your questions answered for this course. And then, as I said before, we will be doing some participation forms for the class. So please, please, please either open up this link on your machine or use your phone to scan this QR code. Or if you have any other, if you need any other help for that, please let us know. But please open up this form now, because this form is basically what we're going to be using for our attendance and also for answering some questions that you may have to answer. Okay. So basically, for this lecture participation form, I'd like for you all to start that off right now. I'll open it up just so you can see what it looks like. So for the lecture participation, you will need to have your UCSD email. And you would have to click here so we can record who was here, right? Who's the person that's actually answering these questions. But we also have a couple questions here for you all to answer. If you'd like, please go ahead and answer the first two questions. How excited are you for this class? And how nervous are you about this class? And you can go ahead and submit right away. There are other questions in the form, but you don't need to do those just yet. You can just go ahead and submit right now as is. I won't show the results here, so answer as freely as you'd like, right? So no one's gonna see exactly, who's excited or who's nervous. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you all in terms of how you're feeling about this class so far. Anyone having any trouble with accessing the form? No? All right, great. I'll just take a couple seconds on that. But yeah, in that is we're gonna have to answer how excited are you about this class, and then how nervous are you about this class? All right, so we can go ahead. Just give me a thumbs up if you already submitted. Awesome, great. So, what is CSE? Now we're finally getting to the nitty gritty. We're going to be talking about the actual material. So what is CSE 8.8? Again, as I said before, it's an introduction to programming and computational problem solving for the first class. No prior experience needed. So when we talk about computer science and computers, what even is a computer? Computers can be seen in lots of different ways, but basically a computer is you have something, right? And you want to give it to something else, and that something else will have basically the brains and actually do some calculations, do some algorithmic thinking, doing a bunch of different stuff, using the main memory, the CPU, or the hard disk. All of this is like terminology that's used for computers themselves. And then lastly, you get some sort of output. So you have something that you want, you put it in here, and then it gives you something out afterwards, okay? And basically this middle part is basically just like the brain of the computer. The brain of the computer that understands what you want, given what you gave it, and then give something back to you. What does that look like? This looks something like this, right? So many of you that have used the computer before, you have some sort of input device, whether it's a keyboard or a mouse. If you move around your mouse, you're giving some information to the computer. If you're typing things in, you're putting things into the computer, right? Some letters. Then the computer, using its own technology, will understand what you put, work with the disk and the memory, and finally give you what you needed out here on the monitor. So if you click, I don't know, the letter T into your keyboard, The T will go in through here, and then the computer will show you, hey, you just typed in the letter T, right? And this is the output that I was talking about before. Okay, that's what basically a computer is. You give it some stuff, it'll think, and it'll give something back to you. Okay. And what is a program? A program is basically something very similar. You have some sort of input that you want, then the program will do something with it, and then it'll finally give something back to you. Okay, and it'll give you back your answer. So, what are some programs that you may have seen in the past before? Something that you may have used. If you open up the slides, you may have already gotten some spoilers as to what sort of programs we've used in our everyday life. Anything at all? Anything at all? Yes?
Websites.
Websites are a really great example. You go to a website, you ask for some information, it'll give you back that information, right? Anything else? ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT is a program, right? Where you go to the program, you ask for something from it, it'll think, and it'll give something back to you, okay? Yeah, ChatGPT is absolutely a program that we can use in our everyday life. These are just a couple of those examples, right? Even just opening up your computer at all, there's a program to get your computer started, to wake up and start giving you information. Web browsers like Firefox or Google's, going to look for some videos on YouTube or Facebook or Blue Sky, or writing a review on Letterboxd, as I said before, right? Your movie review, or ordering stuff on Amazon. Basically, there's a bunch of different programs that's out there, and what we are going to be doing is basically starting to create our own programs. We're not going to be making Amazon, right? That's like a lot of work, but we will be starting the fundamentals on what programs are and how to create those programs. Okay. So what's the difference between a computer, a CPU, and a human brain? So a computer only understands zeros and ones, right? In that example that I told you, that, okay, you put in the letter T, the computer will read the letter T and say, hey, you click the letter T and here it is. You clicked on it, right? T, the letter T, the computer does not know what that is. The letter T for the computer only knows zeros and ones. It only can read zeros and ones, right? The human brain, right? We can understand some natural languages. Right now I am speaking, and you can understand what I'm saying. I'm speaking in a natural language called English, right? When I speak English, many of you will be able to understand what I'm saying. I don't say 01100100101. I just say the words that I want to say. But a computer, again, only understands zeros and ones. So, who can read this? Todo está bien. Who can read this? What does it say?
Everything's good.
Everything's good. Who can read this? It's okay if you don't read it. This is the Tamil. This means all is well. Everything's good, right? Everything's fine. Everything's good. And all of these things are different natural languages, right? We as humans, we may know one of these, we may know none of these, we may know a couple of these, but basically a lot of us know at least one natural language that we can read and say A-L-L space I-S space W-E-L-L, right? And we can read and understand this. But a computer can read this. Who can understand this? No? Just kidding. Basically, this is what a computer will read, and this is what a computer can understand. When a computer sees all is well, it won't understand what that is. But this spells out Triton, right? That letter T that I was talking about, when we say T, it says 01010100, right? It does all that automatically. It needs to translate the letter T into this binary sequence. Binary is basically 0 or 1, okay? So, how can we make a computer read the word Tritons? How can we actually do that? So, as we said before, we need to communicate in a language that the computer can understand. The computer does not know English or Chinese or Mandarin, or it doesn't understand Spanish. It doesn't understand any of these natural languages that you and I know, but it does know zeros and ones, right? So we have this problem where computers can only understand binary numbers, zeros and ones. Humans have trouble understanding binary numbers. Can't believe none of you could read Tritons, right? Just kidding. But we have a solution. and we have something called a high-level programming language, such as Python. Python is the language that we will be using in this class, okay, for the whole course. There are other programming languages out there. There's Java, there's JavaScript, there's, I don't know, Flask, there's a bunch of different things, but we don't have to worry about any of them, right? We're only going to be reading and learning Python. That's okay, because Python is one of the largest used programming languages out in the world, okay? So you will be in very good hands with Python. All right, so we're going to be writing our very first program, okay? It's called Hello World. So if you could please go to your EdStem. And then when you go to EdStem, what you can also do is we have this thing called Workspaces. Workspaces, which is this little tab with a little arrow and an underline. This workspace is basically where you're going to be able to write any program that you want. For your assignments, we will do all that for you. You don't have to create a new workspace or any of that stuff. We will have all the things that you need for any assignments or labs or discussions in its own space. But here in this workspace, this is basically where I'm going to be able to create things and for you all to see what I made throughout the lecture. So let's look at lecture 1. Ismail, right? So we want to say hi to the computer, or we want the computer to say hi to us, right? Hello world, it wants to say hello to all of us. So how can the computer know what we want to say? We need to give it something, right? For example, with Microsoft Word or some other text writing device, how do you start writing on a document? Anything at all. How can you start writing on a document? How do you start writing on a document?
Typing.
Typing, right? Where are you going to type on it?
Keyboard.
On a keyboard. Where is that keyboard going to go to? It needs to go to some sort of document, right? It needs to go to some sort of file. It needs to go to my first document .docx or something like that, right? Python has something similar. Python has something called .py, right? So we're going to have a new file here, and we're going to call it hello world .py, okay? .py is basically telling the computer, .py means that everything that I write in here, read it as if it's Python code, okay? As we said before, there's other programming languages like Java. Java, you'd have to do .java, right? We don't have to worry about that. We just have to have .py. If you see that, that means that the file that you're working with is a Python file, right? So instead of writing down 0100100101, all those things, what we can do is just write it in English, right? Or write it in any natural language that we want, but we have to write it in Python, right? So Python has this thing called print. We want to print something out, right? We want to print out something for the computer to say. And right now we want the computer to say, hello world, to all of us, right? So the way that you do that is you have to open up with double quotation marks, with a little string, right? This is what's called a string. We'll get into that in the next lecture. But we can say hello world, right? We want to say hello. Now we have this. Now we want this computer to read what we wrote, right? So right now, we can read this with our human knowledge and human eyes, and we can see that it says hello world. But this needs to be translated into zeros and ones, 01011101, all those things, and Python will do that for us, right? And right here we have something called a terminal. In this terminal, we're going to tell the computer, hey, I want you to read a Python file. So you write down Python. Then you put space. And you're saying, okay, you're going to be reading Python right now. I want you to read a Python file that I created. What's our Python file called? What's our Python file called? What is our Python file called? Hello world.py. Okay? So we're going to be telling the computer, I want you to read Python, and I want you to read the following file. And the file is called hello world.py. Then we're going to say, okay, go ahead and start. We'll just click enter. And now it says hello world. It prints it out exactly what we wanted. Okay? Ain't that neat? But what if we want to say hello, Ismael? We can just update that there. We can say, okay, I want you to read Python. I want you to read that same file that I told you before. This file has now been updated to say hello, Ismael. Boom. Now it says hello, Ismael. Right? Don't worry about all this other stuff, user at Sahara, all that thing. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to worry about anything preceding it and what we get as output. So the input that we have to our computer is this. Print hello, Ismael. It read it, understood it, translated it, and told the computer, I want you to say this out loud, which it did, right? And this is the output that we're talking about. We gave it something, some set of instructions, it thought about it, and it gave us something back. Hello, Ismael. Does that make sense so far? Any questions so far about this print function? Yes?
I'm not getting the user tab.
The
I don't know what's
user-
wrong with
Sorry, which one?
it. I'm not getting the user tab below the print hello.
On the, this right here? Ah, yeah, sorry. To open up the terminal, you have to click this button right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so click that button, and then you will see your terminal, right? And you'll be able to see the user, etc., all those things. Again, you don't have to worry about what that means, but here you can start saying Python space, and you can say hello world, right? Thank you for that question. Any other questions? No? All right. Cool. So, this is our first program. Hello world. You are all now computer scientists, okay? That's all you needed to do. Congratulations, you all get A's. Okay? Just kidding. Well, not kidding. I hope that you all get A's. That's what I'm really looking forward to. Okay? So we will get really into the weeds about what all that is in a couple in our very next lecture. Our very next lecture is going to be all about strings and printing and how we can talk with the computer and have the computer talk back to us. Okay? But before we do that, again, I wanted to bring this up to you all. You all should have gotten an email from me. Did someone not receive an email from me? I think it got sent out yesterday or the day before. Yes, no, yes, no. So you all received my email? Okay, great. In that email, you have this form. The form that we talked about of we may be flipping our labs and discussions the other way around. So that we would have, right now, we have labs Mondays and Wednesdays, but we would be switching that. If we all agree on it, we'd switch we switch our labs from Monday, Wednesday to Tuesday, Thursday. And then we switch our discussions from Tuesday, Thursday to Monday, Wednesday. Okay? All at the same time. It's all from 3 to 3:50, regardless of what we do. Okay? So please, please, please open up this form and submit it as soon as you can, so we can make a final decision by tomorrow. Right? All right, and then, okay, we have some last to-dos for you all, some things that you all have to do. One is a pre-course survey, right? This is just so we can get a better sense of who you are, why you're here in the class, right? Some things that you're worried about, anything like that. So this pre-course survey, please fill this out as soon as you can. Again, also join the EdSTEM. EdSTEM is basically where you're going to be able to get all your assignments, create your first programs, things like that. And then lastly, I have this link to Code Help. Code Help, who remembers what Code Help is? What is Code Help? Yes?
The AI helper.
It is the AI helper that we have here in the class. So I'm going to open up Code Help really quick, just so you all can see what it looks like, right? So when you open up Code Help, it's going to look like this. It's going to have all of these nice fancy things, but all you have to do is click on Get Help, right? On the top left here, it says Get Help. You click on that button. Once you click there, you will be able to ask anything that you want. You can post any of your code that you're working on. You could post some error that it says, my computer's telling me that I'm doing something wrong, and I don't even know what that means. You could put that message that the computer gave you here on the error message. You don't need to put your code, or you don't need to put an error message, but you can just ask it your question, right? Let's ask a question right now. So, here is on your issue or your question. Here you can say, I am making a hello world program. However, I want to say hello to you all instead. How do I do that? right? You can submit that request. And then Code Help will think for a bit and it'll give this back to you. Great question. In Python, to display a message, blah, 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 use a function that outputs text. You want to change the message from hello world to hello you all. You need to update the text inside the quotation marks in your output statement, right? So when we were working with it over here, right, we had hello world. It's telling you inside these quotation marks, instead of hello world, you put hello you all, right? And then you can go ahead and then put hello world, world.py. And now it says hello you all, right? So as you can see here, Code Help did not just give you, okay, here's what you need. Here it is, copy paste it, and you're good. No, it's giving you instructions on what to do and why you have to do things. Remember, anything you put inside those quotation marks will be shown exactly as you type it. So simply replace the old message with your new one, making sure you keep the quotation marks around your new text. This way, when you run your program, it will display your custom text, your message, instead of the original one. Okay? So again, Code Help. You can use this however you'd like. If you want to use this using a different language, you can do so as well. Quiero crear un programa de Hello World. Pero en vez de ese mensaje, quiero poner Hello You All. Right? ¿Cómo puedo hacer esto? This is basically asking the same exact question, but in Spanish, right? This is in a different natural language, right? So if you're not comfortable asking a question in English, that's totally fine. Then go ahead and ask something in a different language, and it will respond in the language that you asked it in. So here it's responding in Spanish. Entonces, claro, para crear un programa de Python que muestre un mensaje en pantalla, necesitas usar una función especial que se encarga de imprimir texto, right? So now, as you can see, if you are not comfortable asking a question in English, that's totally fine. Code Help will also be able to help you out with whatever natural language that you want, okay? Any questions on Code Help? Any questions on the class? Any movie recommendations for me? Wow. I thought I knew you all. Gosh, that's unfortunate. All right, well, I think that about does it for this class. And I'll see you all tomorrow. So thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye now, of course. We'll go ahead and end early. I'll stick around until 1:50 if any of you all have any questions, but thank you for joining us today. And again, please submit that form. Submit the form on whether we want to switch our section, our discussion and labs or not. Thank you.
You can fork on it. You what? You can fork on it. Let me see.
All right.
It doesn't like quite work because that's sometimes how before our test cases.
The first lecture is always the hardest one for me, just because like there's not much to talk about other than logistics.
Right.
You know, just like
Especially now, just only quite a few students.
very few students who no one wants to ask a question. We're just like, that sucks. But
Do you need us to answer your question?
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Usually we would do that in a very large lecture hall, so that we can have like some people just asking questions, so other people can start to feel more comfortable to ask questions. But with so few students, there were more instructors than there were students. You know, so it's like it's kind of hard to do that. So yeah. All right. Audrey, how do you think it went?
Good. Yeah. I'm surprised we have high school students, but it makes sense.
High school.
Yeah, there were some high school students. There was like one in our section and another one in our
yes,
section.
it's because of that program, right? That starts this one.
No, but that's a different thing. That's like Cosmos and
Like
stuff
they're
like that.
getting actual college credit.
Like these are college credit
Which is like
students
different.
enrolled to get credit for
It's
this.
like incoming students or?
Nah, there's like a sophomore
Wow.
in high school.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
Yeah.
if you take this course, they don't need to take anymore when they get into college.
Yeah, when they get to college, they already have the
Oh,
credit.
that's nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's nice.
Yeah, wish I had that. But yeah, but no, we just had fields. So,
Sophomore year of high school, that was COVID.
In COVID.
is the education. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Like, you have, what's your like, advisors from CSE department?
Curtis talked to me about Cosmos.
Is more on
The reason I couldn't do it is because interacting with high school students requires me to get like cleared. I'm surprised they let us do this without being cleared.
What do you mean?
Like, because it's minors, right? You can't interact with minors without being
First time
cleared.
to.
So they couldn't come on
know
Cosmos?
that.
Yeah.
What about you doing
Because our
SRP?
department is so big.
Answer?
What's the other thing that you applied for?
Oh,
Spikes?
I'm
Yeah.
also in CSE.
Yeah, but that's also
I'm
like later.
very buff now.
Spikes
Oh,
is second
yeah,
section.
yeah.
We are working on like a bioinformatics.
Yeah.
Developing.
Baseless in this.
Yeah, secretly he's gonna retire.
No, he's not. He can't be. He was
Actually, I took his class right in here, like
really
1 year ago, I think 2 years ago.
Oh, that was really nice.
Yeah, his class is kind of.
He's merciful. He really is. And when I tell you the man, I'm also gonna write his name in my trust. When I pass away, his dog is gonna get my money as well.
His dog, not him. His dog.
I don't know if you guys joking.
You know what Pi unit is?
He's a great professor.
It's like J unit from
Yeah, I think his
Python.
last
You can do unit tests
just
with it.
just
Yeah.
graduated.
So,
His last
like, if you
Martin.
think about the 8 a.m. call, right?
Yeah.
You remember how big of a mess it was, right? Because people have like slightly different outputs and then now
Did
we
you
can
also
have
do planning for before?
and
Yeah, that was my
things like
favorite.
infinite
Wow.
loops in inputs that will break like all of the test cases.
But we changed
So we
it.
should like make unit tests the time out so that it doesn't like
Oh yeah, I do that. That's also fun.
right? We
Like,
do that
sorry, you know?
yeah, how did you change
Yeah, the unit that got flashback from CSE12.
Oh, I know. That was so tedious.
it? You should take it though.
No.
Like I just felt the
Or
ultimate
maybe
life
it's
one.
already.
Slide shows slide.
Says that's by JetBrains, right? Pi unit.
Here.
J-unit?
Oh no, Pi unit. JetBrains is that, right?
Thank
I
you.
don't know.
Because you get a free student JetBrains
Oh,
account.
beautiful. Thank you so much. I was
Reference is just not E though.
Yeah, no, but they had everything. They had like
We're
Python,
gonna
Pi
have
unit, I think.
maybe 10 minutes.
Oh, that's probably
Yeah.
step one.
Yeah, we're
So
gonna
my
do
next one
it.
makes Pi unit might be Python. Did you bring these as well?
I did, yeah. Take as many as you'd like.
Thank you.
Yeah, you want some granola bars?
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. That's for everyone.
My fear is I
This is
accidentally
much
did
more
a
than
whole assignment
students.
and
I know, yeah.
on.
Yeah, I'm probably bring it tomorrow.
100?
Oh, how do you know?
I don't know.
So wait, can you tell me this
Going
one?
for later?
That class was so
And I
More
know
later?
who
Look
to
at
do.
it.
I can't.
I have an idea what it was. Okay, the TAs. Okay,
So the
sorry.
discussion
See, yeah,
location
it was
is
just-
somewhere else, right?
Yeah, it's in
Yeah,
Canyon
the
College.
TAs are
Very
not
close
like,
by here.
everyone's
It's
top,
like-
so sorry.
Yeah.
I hate
I don't know why it's not
Okay,
randomly
okay,
assigned
okay,
by
okay.
Professors and
We don't-
stuff.
Wait, no,
From
no, no.
top to bottom.
Professor's definitely less social.
because
He's
my
less
lab is
social
actually
compared to,
in
like,
at Franklin Antonio Hall.
Better
Back there,
professors,
so-
but he's really nice and he's doing his own
Well,
stuff.
it's a
Right
little
on that.
So like, I took his class, and I only went in the office hours like 3 times. Like he remembered me. Like he's like, hey,
Yeah,
and I'm
the
like,
only one that. You cannot teach 100 though. You have to
you're
admit.
just a hater. This might be hating like
Oh,
hater.
this is just a bad call. I self-taught 100 one-on-one to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what a one is tough. 100? 100 is doable though. It's doable. 100 is doable.
You know what I
101, horrible.
100 should be 2 weeks after CSE 12.
CSE program.
You just got to follow the fucking that
100
text,
is like advanced data
whatever data
structure,
structures.
but it's
These are like bullshit useless ones, right?
it's less
One-on-one.
intense than
One-on-one is
data
more better.
structure, which was a
One-on-one?
Uh,
My
Because
experience in
I don't
one-on-one
know, I think
was
it's organized better.
Saha. Oh no, she could not teach.
But how do you
know
feel
what?
this for you?
I feel fine, yeah. I just feel like it's so
100
easy
is
to
a final in person.
Or at least like just like, yeah, it's
I
very
think
awkward.
once we
On
like know
very
my
good.
name,
Which is
then they'll be more like,
what?
oh, what's up?
Yeah.
I think right now it's like, oh, hey.
I done like 30% of it. Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's very,
Yeah.
very awkward, very like,
That averages, right?
You take a minimum.
Minimum? But minimum of the
Yeah, little minimum of your
Yeah.
grade.